Pastafarians. Hello there, Pastafarians, it's me, Schizophrenic Mitch. Here I am down at Fort Collins. I have come down here for the past couple months, including this one, to meet with the local Pastafarians here, the people that are following my channel in this location and would like to talk about practical Pastafarianism, how we take these ideas and move them from the theatre and the debate stage to the to our real world lives. What practical Pastafarianism looks like. If you would like to be involved in that, A, in Denver, come let me know. We'll hang out. Or B, in Fort Collins, do let us know. We've got a thing going on here. Please come on down. These conversations are edifying to all who believe similarly. And then also on Fridays we have reason to expect that preachers will come down and preach their hateful lies in these times, and so
I just read that on the side.
I've come here to oppose them. So now that I have arrived, I must admit to you there's a wash of chemicals coming over me, because here they are. Now that fight or flight response is sort of happening inside me. So I've got my signs here. Please join my cult. Got my thing here. So let's see what's happening down here. Hello there, how have you been?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
We'll get him.
Let's get them, eh?
Okay.
Oh, you're a genius. This sort of is regurgitated stuff. Hello there, would you like to talk about religion for like 5 minutes? Sure, I'm okay. My name is Schizophrenic Mitch. I'm a preacher of the Pastafarian religion. Have you heard of it? My YouTube is there. We like to oppose people like this who come out here and say they know the Bible and they know what it means, and it means to hate your neighbor. I like to oppose them most aggressively. And I do that on YouTube with sort of a religion called Pastafarianism that is aggressively anti what they're doing. I'm doing it right now live on YouTube, and I don't mean to spring that upon you, but there's a lot of people, and they come down on Fridays, and I've talked to them for the last couple of months. I'm from Denver and I spend a lot of time there, and so I'm sort of sussing out the situation and figuring out where the breaks in the conversation are, and I'm going to be opposing these people quite vehemently in just a few moments. I think that the Bible specifically is very aggressively wrong in a number of things. Yeah. And I think these people don't believe that. And I think that they're adult people. And I think they're making real decisions in this world. And I'd like to have a good faith conversation with any of them about how I can talk them out of that belief, because I don't want them to have it anymore.
That's pretty awesome.
It is, and it's very difficult. These people have sort of a defense mechanism built up that is very hard to crack with sincerity or comedy or anything. And so, I'm just trying to figure it out because, I got nothing else to do. My friend from town said, come on up, we'll get some drinks, and then you can yell at these Christians, and that's what I'm doing.
That sounds awesome. I also like the recognition that religion is a cult.
It is, and the sooner that we recognize it, the more we can get control of it. We are all inculted into a number of cults: our nation, our family, our religion, our political spectrum, and when we treat it as such, we can kind of come at each other from equals, which is not the position these people are taking. They're taking a very condescending position, yeah. And I think that if we don't oppose them, I think they might win. And so I don't mean to preach at you, but I do feel like you're agreeing with a lot of my points. My YouTube is on there. You can see this conversation and the many that I've had. So, my name is Schizophrenic Mitch. I'm sort of worked this area, the whole state. So if you see people like this preaching lies in the street, especially if it's hate, if they're saying these people should be hated, those are the people that I really would like to talk to. And if you feel like this, please do. On Twitter, check out my Twitter and be like, there's people here talking crazy shit. And I appreciate that. Especially because a lot of people don't know what to do. They don't know how to oppose them. But just sort of like, the views on my channel, that gives me all the sort of reason to come out here and yell at them. Yeah. I think that, and I invite you to engage with these people as much as you like, and I think that you'll find them not as forthcoming as I was, and I think you'll find them misunderstanding religion compared to me. And if you were to pick one of them to be a spiritual advisor, I think you'd pick me, but I think you should pick yourself. You've got to solve the problem of morality yourself. Nobody can help you with it. I mean, everyone helps you with it, but you've got to solve it. I think I'm going to try to talk to this guy right here.
Good luck.
Thank you very much for your time. See you online.
I mean, right, there is second nature. It's a little bit like some dude hung out at the library every day, but eventually he read all the books. So here's the deal. Eventually he reads all the books. And the idea is somehow this compares to God's not. God didn't read the books to know the content. He can tell you this book's good until chapter 6. This book's okay to let him tell you. So what I'm here is to check. Because his mind defines Jesus. You have suffered.
Do you know the Euthyphro dilemma? Do you understand the Euthyphro dilemma?
I'm talking to my friends here.
I am also talking to your friends. Hi, my name is Mitchell. This guy's lying to you. Can I talk to you about as much as he does? Have you heard of it? Good luck. I'll see you online. Would you like to see? Good luck. Thank you very much. Can I talk to you, sir? I'd like to have a good faith conversation. Are you capable of that?
I'm going to leave.
So is that a no, my friend? I think it worked. Hello, my friend. I'd like to talk to you for about an hour.
An hour?
Yep.
But I'm in the middle of a conversation.
I don't think so. I think she just said I'd like to leave. Isn't that right? You said something about disengaging. Did you not pick up on that hint?
No, I did not pick up.
I know you didn't, because you don't want her to leave and talk to me. Did you not say something about you want to go and find your family?
If you're ready to go, you're
She's trying to tell you she's ready to go, bro. Are you not cluing into those hints?
No, I didn't.
I know you
That
didn't.
wasn't fun.
No,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Very good.
You're a very
I'm
kind
gonna go get
person.
my family.
You go find him. Take
Hello there. Can I talk to you for an hour about how you're an evil person and doing evil in the streets right now?
Not for an hour.
Okay, how long?
Well, you go ahead. Ask me. What do you want me to talk about?
I would like to have a good faith conversation.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. Start.
About how what you're doing out here is evil.
Okay. Why is that?
Because of you're worshipping an evil god.
Okay.
Is it true that if you were worshipping an evil god here, what you would be doing is evil?
Yes.
So you've understood my argument for why.
No.
Okay, I think you've understood it.
No, because you didn't. How's the God I'm worshiping evil?
Right. So you don't accept the premises, but you see the argument, correct?
No. Well, okay. Yes, I see. Correct.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank
Right.
you so
Right.
much.
Yes.
So the premise is, how do I prove to you that your God is evil?
Yes.
Right. So how do we get there? How could that God prove to you that he's evil? What could he do right now to prove to you that he's an evil God? Hi, what's your name, bro? I thought you were leaving.
Doesn't matter.
I thought you said I'm leaving. Tell me again how you can tell if your God is evil.
Well, if you were to do something evil.
I know. So like what? Like lying?
Sure.
Cool. So if we saw God lie, then you'd be like, oh, I worship an evil God. That's the works I do are evil. Is that correct?
Seems reasonable.
Cool. So have you checked your book to see if your God lies in it?
When I don't remember that.
Cool. I would like to show you a place where I can prove to you that he lies.
Okay.
It's the chapter Mark 4.
Okay.
In it, he describes why he uses parables, and he explains when he does and
Okay.
why. It looks like you want to talk to me. I'm
No, I
sorry.
don't want to talk to you.
I talked to this guy before I talked to you, and he's back to talk to me. And so,
I'm not
in a
here to
good
talk
faith
to you.
effort to make sure I'm
Make sure
I'm going to talk to you, and I hope to be back.
Sure, slip
Hi, my name is Mitch. What's
I
your
don't care
name?
what your name is.
That's weird of you. What you're doing is evil. Would you allow me to explain?
Well, that's false.
Okay, right, but how could I prove to you it was true? What sort of argument can I make? Yeah.
No, your epistemology is so bad
See,
that...
but you have proved to yourself that it's false, right? You've proved to yourself that it's false. Is that
No,
correct?
are you talking about whether or not things are falsifiable?
You said it's false. You said that's false, correct?
Yeah, you're
Saying-
here to tell me
No,
I'm
I'm
wrong.
literally talking about what you believe.
No, you
because
don't
you
know what I
said-
believe, so
No,
you can't
you-
see my mind.
I know,
So
but I can
you're
hear what
here
you
to
said.
peddle your false thing and call mine false. You call me a liar to people who I was loving.
Yeah, I wasn't saying you weren't loving them. I'm saying you're also lying to them. My name is Mitch.
No, lying is with knowledge.
I'm going to call
Mitch,
you.
You're not welcome here.
Neither are you. Shall we continue?
No,
Okay. What do you mean by not welcome, and what do you mean by here?
I think you'll have to figure that out yourself.
I think that those things are sort of not clearly defined, and I think that
English isn't clearly defined.
So I'd like your definitions of
I'm
those.
not going to help you.
Excellent. You are helping me because what I want today is
I'm helping
content,
you.
and you're giving me content. Do you agree?
What?
I
Giving you
want
who?
from you content, and giving me content
No,
is helping
I'm
me.
not a web server.
You are giving me content. What's your name, my friend? Are we public? Is this Colorado?
Figure it out yourself.
Cool. You're giving me content, and as long as you're giving me content,
I'm not voluntarily giving you content.
No, you are, because
You
here
showed
you
up
are in
and
public.
filmed without being invited.
And then you walked away, and then you came back. Is that right? Is that the story that I've chronicled here in these 11 minutes?
So here's the deal.
Tell me the deal.
You're trying to destroy something good.
No, I'm trying
And
to
you're going to
chronicle.
pay for that before the living God.
I don't wish to destroy anything good.
No, okay, but
Can I explain? Can I prove that to you? Is there any way I
No,
can prove
no,
that
you
to
couldn't prove it to me.
I believe that I could. Prove
Well,
to
it's
you.
neat, but you don't know my mind, so how
No,
on
no,
earth
no.
could you prove it to me?
Because I wish to, and I know
So
that it's
wishes
true,
make
and
things
I want
happen.
to. And together we
Wanting
can.
and wishing make things real.
If the will takes it from there to the end, yes.
Okay, so
It
will,
takes a will,
so
but
you,
I
you
think
can will
that
things
sort of-
into existence.
I think sometimes that poetry that you're using is
Poetry.
literally true. So you're saying it dismissively, but I think I'm trying to
It's neat
say.
you can describe me. That's like you have a dozen working brain cells there. I'm proud of you.
Thank you very much. I'm here in good faith.
So I'm kind of doubting that's even your accent.
It's not my accent. It's a
Okay,
stage
so-
accent.
So you're staging here, okay?
Yes, for content.
That's not for content.
Yeah, and as long as you're giving me content,
Say
you're
that
giving me what I
again.
want. So,
Okay.
I'm
so
going to
let's-
call you Pikes Peak, if that's cool.
No, that's not cool.
Cool. Then I won't call it to you.
Okay.
So, how can I prove to you that I'm here in good faith?
You've already been hostile and you've been filming people. It's already past. You can prove you're here in good faith.
Okay, because I've been hostile and I'm filming people, those are your arguments against my good faithfulness. If I could prove that you were doing half of those
Irrelevant
things,
about my arguments.
were you here in good faith?
What do you think?
I think no. I think no.
Great. Label it if you like.
No, you asked me and I answered you in good
Well,
faith.
could you talk with your actual voice? Is that a thing you could do?
It is.
Okay.
If I do it, will it prove that I'm here in good faith?
No.
Then why would I do it?
Oh, so you're a quid pro quo guy. Gotcha.
No, what I'm saying is we here in this conversation are establishing sort of a relationship of trust. Hello there, I was talking to the person that I was talking to. That person is leaving, and I think rightfully. The person that I was talking to instead, I'm not connecting with. So let me see. Let me see who else I can talk to. Hello there, can I talk to you for about 5 minutes about religion?
Oh, I thought you said
All these questions are in bad faith. Do you agree that there is a trick to the questions and they're all in bad faith? I think that is the modus operandi of the people who've put it here. That they make you feel things in bad faith and they lead you down a road that will cause you eventual ruin. And I'd like to engage with them. Hello there. Hello.
Yes, hi.
Welcome back. That person I was talking to has left. I didn't see you. I talked to passers by. I'd like to talk to you. My name is Mitch.
Yes.
Would you like me to talk to this person instead? Our body language seems to suggest that this person is here to defend you. Shall I talk to this person instead of you, or shall I talk to you instead of this person?
Not being rude and being right in the middle of our stuff.
This is very, very rude. Would you mind not being rude? This right here, incredibly rude. Would you mind not being rude here? Or should I talk to you? Maybe you're being rude here. If I could prove that wrong, would you remove this?
can't prove it wrong.
Say again, you're not being rude here, and I cannot
being
prove it.
rude.
But if I could prove it wrong, would you remove this?
I'm not going to do a hypothetical that doesn't
That's
exist.
weird. That's
We're
weird
not being
because
rude
you
to
are.
anybody here.
I think that you are being incredibly rude. Incredibly rude.
You're the one interrupting.
That's excellent. Can I have about a
Running
half
people
hour to explain to you
Over there.
the answer to that question? No, right here is the place to do it
No,
because of the
this is
American
blocking
First
something
Amendment.
we've set up.
I don't
It
mean
is
to block it. I
American
mean to
First
be.
Amendment. You're right.
I
You
mean
have a right to be rude and block everybody here.
Okay.
You're right.
You twice said the word block, and I want to say
That's what you were
next
doing.
to. What I want to say is next to.
No, it's blocking.
Cool. What I want to do is that place that you believe I'm blocking anymore, but instead I am next to you. Is that right here?
No.
But
Talk to
see,
you right over here.
see, but that is
No.
removed. So I don't
That's-
want to block
okay,
it,
well,
but
then
I
I'm
want to
gonna
be.
remove-
What I'm saying is,
Okay.
when you say block, what you mean is also present, and you want to remove.
No, you're blocking.
No, I'm saying what you're saying
Because
is
you're so-
mistaken from reality and it's metaphorical.
You're not
So
saying anything.
obvious.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is something very
not talking
important, and that has to do with whether or not you're here in good faith. Are you here in good faith, or you're an evil person?
I am a wretched person saved by
Okay,
grace.
but are you here in good faith?
Yeah.
Let me prove that that's not true.
Okay,
It takes
let's
about a
go
half an
over
hour.
here.
I'd rather not. I'd rather do it right here. I'd rather do it.
Well,
I'd rather do it. Rather do it right here.
I'll go over there.
Right here is where I'd rather do
I get
it.
done using this with somebody, I walk off.
I know.
Treating you any different.
I know, but what I'd rather do is right here. This is where I'd love to do it.
Okay, well, love away, man.
Cool. Is this blocking it?
Huh.
Am
Is
I
it
blocking you?
it? I'd like to be a little further away.
Excellent, excellent. This is further away and still where I'd love to do it.
Right here.
Excellent. So I think that we found a place that you do not longer think that I'm blocking you. My name is Mitch. What's your name?
Steve.
Steve, what you're doing here is evil because you worship an evil God. You are in service of an evil God. You're a slave. The God you worship is evil. If I could prove to you that your God is evil tonight, would you quit this endeavor?
If you could prove to me that God is evil.
Yep.
So we're talking about another hypothetical that you can't prove.
Yep. But I'm saying, if I could, would that then mean that you would stop?
If you could prove it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't.
Thing is,
Okay.
thing is,
But let's start with that.
What's-
Yeah.
what's
Hold on.
standard?
I'm talking to Steve. Hold on.
Something to be evil.
Steve.
What standard are you going to use to
Two
determine if
questions
it's
have been
evil?
asked of me, Steve.
All right, well.
What's your name? Is your name Steve? Did I get it?
My
Did
name
I
is
remember?
Steve.
My
and You
apologies.
give full diatribe.
No.
So I'm going to ask you a question.
I know, and I'm listening to two questions at the same time.
Something to
Two
be
questions.
evil, there
What's
has
your
to be a standard by which we can judge
Maybe.
it.
What's your name?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. What's your name? What's your name?
My name's Pat.
My name's Mitch. Pat and Steve. But if I could disprove that, would that prove that you're wrong about reality and your worldview is false? If I could disprove that tonight, would that disprove your worldview?
Say something's evil.
Right. If I could disprove that without God, no, if I could disprove that thing that you believe about the standard, and I'm not saying it's untrue, I'm just saying, if I disprove that assertion that you just made, would you then give up your religion?
Proof
Now,
requires-
your question, if that were
Mitch,
possible,
Mitch,
excellent.
proof requires truth, right?
Maybe.
Maybe. So it's,
No.
So it's all
It requires
hypothetical. It's all
proof.
It's all
Prove it.
So
Exactly.
Right.
So
But
how-
you're seeing
how do
the
you
glass
make
is half
sense-
empty side of it.
How do you make sense of the idea of proof?
So we agree
In universe without
that
God?
we must rely on unproven axioms. Is that correct? Okay, I thought we just did. But maybe I've misunderstood what you said.
I'm saying that you can't prove what you're claiming to want to prove.
Oh, cool. But what I can disprove is the thing that you are asserting.
And I disagree with you.
Cool. So assert
So
something.
by what standard can you do that?
Its own standard.
Its own standard?
Yeah.
So what's the standard?
First of all,
Prove
does
that
that
you can say
disprove his
something. Prove that you-
belief by its own
I don't,
standard?
you haven't given me a standard yet.
The Bible.
You're going to prove with the Bible.
I'm going to disprove the Bible with itself. Wouldn't that be the only standard that you would require for the Quran or the Book of Mormon, that it disproves itself? Isn't that the only standard?
No, I require the Bible to disprove those.
See, that's what I'm saying is you are a presuppositionalist presuming that the Bible is true.
Yes.
Cool. Well,
Your precept also.
right. I agree.
Yeah.
Yes. So, do you do Sudokus?
No.
Are you aware of the puzzle Sudoku?
I know there's little magazines at the front of the cashier.
And there's numbers. Yeah. And there's numbers, and you have to fit where the numbers go.
I've never done a Sudoku. I never looked at it.
I'm trying.
Mitch Ross, I can talk to some people about our good God.
Excellent. And if I don't get to talk to you for the rest of the night, Pat, our conversation is on this YouTube. I would love to continue it there. I'll be back hopefully next month.
On YouTube?
Yep, I'm live streaming it right here on this phone. Your comments are more than welcome there, and I would love to continue this. This conversation will be
So,
continued.
can you tell us briefly
Yes.
how you can determine that a God is evil without a standard?
No, by his own standard.
Well, okay.
Right. If a God defines what evil and good is, and then he fails that standard, it just proves that he's a good God.
So
Yeah?
what has God said is evil? That
God said he can't lie, right? You're God. Right. And so every time you see him lie, you're like, oh no, that just disproved him. Is that right?
he doesn't.
I know, but every time you see him lie, you're going to be like, oh, there it is. That's
I
all the
have never
evidence
seen
in
him
it.
lie.
I'm not saying you did. I'm saying when you do,
So we're talking hypothetically.
so are you.
No.
Right. Because you're saying hypothetically you're right.
No.
we don't say
You
hypothetical.
literally are, and you deny it.
We're saying
And you
apart
don't give
from
me what you
God,
give
can't
yourself.
Make sense of the idea of right and wrong.
So you have to borrow
Because-
from our worldview just to determine
Can't you be
right or
wrong
wrong.
about
Cool. That
everything?
might be true, and it might be projection. How much time do you have for me to explain it to you?
I'm willing to talk to you.
Cool,
As
because
long as
I'm.
we're willing to stay here and leave the board alone.
I literally do not want to molest your board. Neither do I want to block it. I want to
That's fair. Then-
oppose,
And
I
as
don't
long
want
as
to be
it's a
sidelined.
conversation, it's not just you talking to me.
I hope.
I get to respond.
I literally hope at the end of the day that you understand that what I was here for a good faith conversation. You
I'm
might
all
not
about
understand.
good faith conversations, even if we don't agree.
Yeah, right. So you might think you know what I'm here for, but as far as what I've told you is the truth, that's true.
I'm presuming based on what you said so far.
So
That may change.
yeah, and so I'm.
it's
That's
Mitch?
Yeah. Yep.
Is that right?
Yep. And Steve.
Yes. Okay.
And so, do you consider yourself, for my audience, who there is about 6 of right now?
Okay.
Last month
Nice
I
to
was
see
here.
you.
Yeah. And again, if this makes you uncomfortable, I would say goodbye to these people. I'll
I'm
record
okay.
it and edit
We're
it.
good.
Cool.
We're good.
Do you consider yourself a sort of in a position of leadership of these people, or would they consider that, or how does this group function as far as like deciding to come out and let's call it evangelize?
Okay. We got together. We saw that Jesus commands us to go into the world and preach the gospel to every creature. So we got together and decided we were going to do that.
And I presume through a Facebook sort of situation?
No, this is before Facebook. We've
Okay.
known each other for a long time.
Okay. And who generally presents the sermons if there is a weekly? How many people regularly present the study of the study group if there is a weekly one?
Okay, we don't have a study group.
Okay.
We all go to different churches.
Excellent. Just as framework for my audience, I really appreciate that. So now we're talking about starting from a presuppositional point of view. I was looking for a metaphor to sort of explain where I'm going. So I am a presuppositionalist, but I presume more than one position. Because I feel like in the question of what shall we presume, there aren't the way to decide whether or not something is not worthy of our trust is by internal contradiction. And so I try to hold in my mind as possible all the things that I have not disproved. And I think that is a presupposition, though your presupposition would be very different. Which is, I chose this one, it hasn't yet contradicted itself.
I chose this one. Sure, it hasn't contradicted itself.
Excellent.
Contradiction isn't the standard by which I'm going to adhere to it.
Because
what one may assume is a contradiction isn't necessarily a contradiction.
I would like to talk about that. How can we be fooled? What sort of contradiction can a human be fooled by? That it presumes, it looks to us like a contradiction, but in reality is not. Does that happen a lot?
To all of us, yeah.
Excellent.
We're easily deceived, sure.
Right, but this particular deception, because this deception looks to me, in my fallible point of view, like there is a contradiction. But I can rest assured that I'm probably wrong. Where does that happen the most?
I have no idea.
But it happens in reality to all of us, and that's
Healthcare?
excellent. So we're talking about sort of like misdiagnoses. Is that what we're referring to? Misunderstanding. Excellent. My apologies.
My life as a paramedic, I see that a lot.
Excellent. Thank you very much. You're a hero.
I'm just paramedic.
Yep. I agree. We are trying to compare two presuppositions here, is what I understand. And so hopefully, in my mind, I will piece together not what I've heard about people who use similar words to you, but what you are actually presenting to me here, Steve.
Okay.
And at the same time, I'm going to be building one myself. Unless you'd rather not, in which case we'll just talk about yours, and then I'll be like, this looks like a contradiction, this looks like a contradiction, this looks like a contradiction. Though I think we're past the part that I really care about, which is a contradiction would disprove that. Is that correct? And I agree it's a hypothetical.
It depends on what that contradiction is and if it's actually a contradiction.
Excellent.
This is where standards come in. Definitions before, it's like a negotiation. You always have definitions for things before you negotiate. That way everybody's on the same page.
It takes a very long time for communication to align definitions. And it's
probably more than 30 minutes.
And it's very frustrating and embarrassing. And if we do it very quickly, it becomes very emotional.
Yes, it does.
And I like to do that on the street. I'm drawn to it. And if you would like to be more emotional today, this is a very subdued conversation for me. It goes faster the more emotional you get.
I'm a subdued guy.
Which is why hopefully this conversation will reflect you.
I hope so.
Yes.
I just hope I enjoy it. And you do too.
I cannot not enjoy this conversation.
Good.
I am getting exactly what I want, and it feels great.
Yes.
So we're proposing contradictions that are real contradictions and contradictions that are illusions of contradictions. How does one determine the difference between them?
Well, not really sure. I mean, there's some things that you can prove as a contradiction outright.
Yeah.
Some things may appear to be contradictions, and they aren't.
Right. Something like that, if I were to guess one, I would say that the death of Judas is an apparent contradiction. But if we add them together, there's no reason we can't add them. That we might be given.
How is that? Just so I'm clear, how is Judas' death a contradiction? It's a contradiction that he died?
It's given in two accounts in the book of Acts and I believe the book of Matthew. In one of the accounts, the words and the verbiage is he fell headlong and his
innards popped out.
It is burst is a word. And then there's another where he hanged himself, or maybe he hanged. And so, if a person were to say that isn't a contradiction, that is a contradiction, then we can say, well, not necessarily, because A plus B equals maybe the true story. Right. So we're not saying A or B, we're saying maybe A plus B. And I agree. It's a bad argument.
It's angles of view.
Right. And so, how shall we know then if we are fooled, or we should take this as evidence that our presuppositions have led us to a place of contradiction? Because that is the way. Okay, from what I understand, and I'm talking a lot just to make sure I understand your position.
You're okay.
I've done it's ancillary to this. I've talked to a number of presuppositionalists on a Discord channel. You may be aware of Darth Dawkins.
No.
Excellent. Stay that way. So,
I know some really good presuppositionists that are kind. I know some others that are out for blood.
That's right.
I disagree with that.
That's right. And so, the reason that I'm talking a lot is to walk a path. When I step off it, please do tell me that's not what I believe.
Okay.
The presuppositionalist point of view is there are axioms we must accept in order to make sense of a universe. I have mine, you have yours. And that your position is, I know that mine are true because they've been revealed to me in a way that is different from the way yours have been revealed to you. Though, I don't mean to talk about that. Though, if it's not what you believe, I don't mean to not talk about it. So, but the point is, I find evidence that I have taken a wrong step. That is all we can do with what we're given, is form a core group of axioms, test them out until they disprove themselves. Is that generally correct?
I would say on 99.9% of the things in the world, that would be true.
Excellent. But in this case, there is personal action that causes us to be able to escape that situation. That
Define revelation. Revelation from God.
Excellent,
I
excellent.
don't believe we're receiving that.
My apologies for the beeping. Though.
Screen's not clear about it.
Excellent. Me neither. Here are people. Everyone says hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yes, content. Hello, everybody. Nobody's making fun of you. I hope you'll
that's okay. I
accept.
don't get upset if they do.
Excellent.
But that's great.
excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah. Though a repeated also, there's a part of it that I don't quite understand, which is sort of people who are elect and people who are not. There's a group of people called the Black Hebrew Israelites that I talk to,
I'm familiar with them.
and they very definitely talk to me like it's just hopeless for me to understand.
Yeah.
So, I do not know if you believe something similar or not, and I don't know if that's normal for a person in your position or not, is all I'm trying to say. And so...
I don't believe as the Black Hebrew Israelites do.
in a lot of ways, I'm sure.
Yes.
So Paul had a Damascus moment. Abraham had a dream. Everyone has enough information such that they are convinced. So how do we determine if we've been given enough information to be convinced? Like, when should we? Because if I'm waiting for a personal explanation of this and sort of an exemption from the personal subjectivity of reality, that I know it instead of believe it, what would that look like? What shall I take as evidence?
Well, first of all, let's just clarify something.
Yes.
And I know this is going to sound like a cop-out, but
Take your time.
Scripture says
Please take your time.
is that unless you have faith given to you by God, you will not understand this. It says that the natural man knows not the things of the Spirit, is foolish, nor can he what is spiritually discerned. So, outside of God intervening and opening your eyes to it,
Yes.
you won't see it. And I mean, he's an all-powerful God.
Yeah,
He do that, right? I mean, it's real he can do that because he's God.
agree.
So in part, we're going to keep doing this and see in your eye. You're not going to see it anyway.
Excellent. Now, in bringing up the Black Hebrew Israelites, that's the idea that I wanted to talk about. Is they literally say that there's nothing that I can do, and now,
See, I think they don't know. There's no way they could know that about you specifically.
what they're saying is that I am waiting, that I am waiting for the decision to be made. Which I find to be confusing, and though it's not my argument, and I don't understand the difference between what they're saying and what you said. If I'm waiting to be elected,
That would mean he's not all-knowing.
then where is my responsibility? I do not understand a personal responsibility.
Here's something,
Yeah.
and I'll talk to your audience with this too.
Please.
I can't explain to you how it is that he can elect from the very beginning and I am responsible.
Excellent.
Other than the scripture specific, and he didn't put in his word. So I'm not here and go out on a limb and say, well, this is what I think. This is what the scripture says.
Right.
He created some to be vessels of wrath. He created some to be vessels of grace, excuse me. But here's the thing. If he's God, he has to know everything. So that means even before he made you, he knew where you would end up. And
That
we
seems to
all-
follow from many of the things you believe.
Yes, and we all, at one point, for the Christian and for everybody else that's not one or not one yet,
Yes.
are in a state worthy of his wrath. But he is saving some, whoever those are that respond to the gospel, because it's the gospel that is the power of God to salvation of those who believe. Those who respond to it will be. We are accountable for our actions in this life. I know that from the scripture as well. When Peter gave his first sermon on the day of Pentecost, he said, he was pointing to the people in the audience, he said, you took Jesus and by lawless hands you murdered him. But God appointed that to happen. Okay? So clearly he is sovereign in that. Clearly they are responsible. I don't know where that line is. I don't know how to fix that. I don't know how it is that God remains just there. I just know that he does.
Excellent.
Okay?
Yes.
All right.
First of all, it's okay. But secondly, is it okay if that's enough for me to say feels, tastes like a contradiction?
You can say that.
Excellent.
And
so,
I wrestle with it.
And do. And as long as when I wrestle with it, it tastes to me like a contradiction, I ought not believe.
Yeah, see, I don't see it as a contradiction. I just say
No.
wrestle with it.
I agree.
Are you talking about you?
I'm talking about me.
Okay, fair enough.
If as long as it tastes to me like a contradiction, it
And
is
just so we're
wisdom.
clear, I know
Yes.
I'm not going to change your mind.
I'm not in that position. I have much hope to change your mind.
I know
Just
you. I know
again,
you want to.
To
I
be
get
clear,
it. That's
no. I have more than want. I have hope. I want to tell you that I am not passive. I believe I have the tools and
passive
capability.
either.
Right. Sure. I
mean, I'll stand up on the street corner and preach what I talked to you about.
as will I, and I enjoy it immensely.
Yeah.
And so you started your phrase with "to be clear," and hopefully have stayed
You
clear.
have. You have.
So,
Continue.
so you wrestle with it, a certain idea, and I'm sure I can touch a number of maybe sore teeth that maybe you wrestle with.
Okay.
And so I'm saying you are finding those things to not be evidence of contradiction, and others are, and maybe legitimately in good faith are. Is that a sin?
Is it a sin?
Right. So you say we're all in a fallen state. We're all hell-bound. Is it a further sin to not believe, to not be convinced?
It is according to the scripture, and I'm going to answer with scripture because that's the best way for me to answer you.
I agree.
It says, "The fool has said in his heart, there is no God." I'm not calling you a fool, or anybody if they have.
Yeah.
That's what the scripture says.
Right. And to be clear, I'm not an atheist, but continue.
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough. Thank you. I just assumed, but
no.
I'm glad you said that.
Excellent.
Because you know what assuming is.
That's why I do bring it up. Yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, it further says that there is nobody that has an excuse not to know who he is. So here's where this goes.
Yeah.
After a while, our conscience, we sear it.
Okay.
After a while, when we sear our conscience, we further separate ourselves from that knowledge because we're going away from it, right? We're trying to avoid it. And,
That could be, yes.
And that, I would say that's most of the people I've ever talked to.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm following that.
That may
train
not
of
be
thought.
you.
I agree. I agree that it is not.
We sear our conscience, but everybody has a knowledge of God. Everybody knows there's an accountability to somebody somewhere.
Okay.
And the scripture is very clear on who that is.
Okay. All right.
So now, as far as contradictions,
Yes.
one might argue that I've had lots of people argue that there's contradictions in the Bible.
Yes.
For me, it's not a contradiction. It's a lack of understanding on my part.
Right. Feels
For
like
many years, I did.
Right. For many years, I was fine with contradictions. For many years, I was not your faith, but I was a believer.
Okay.
And I'm sure you can condemn my faith. So
I don't condemn anybody. That's not.
I'm sure you would. The reason I don't bring it up is because I don't want to talk about why they're wrong. I know they're wrong.
Okay. We don't have to talk about it.
Every time I bring it up, that's what people talk about.
Well, I won't go there.
I appreciate it.
We're already on a path, so lead on.
Yeah, excellent. You are convinced. Okay, so what I'm saying is, every time you come up to a contradiction, it is okay. It is fine and understandable for you to say, at this point, I must trust that this is not a contradiction, but in fact,
Hostile to you.
this is
comfortable.
Okay, take your time. No, please. And again, yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
There is my apologies. I dropped sort of half of those.
Well, and I caused it. I apologize.
No. Yeah, you did, but I accept your apologies. I have gotten a confirmation here so far. A great conversation, Mitch. This is from Andreas Costanis. I don't even know where this person lives.
Hi, Andrea.
So, before I sort of pick up my thought, I am a street preacher. I've been doing it for 6 years. I work in Denver, preaching is a very noble tradition for humans to sit on the preach.
Amen.
And so, also very strongly American. I think worshiping our practically worshiping our First Amendment rights will save us from having to use our second.
It's there for the first.
That's
I totally.
so that all these people know that we are the people who are. And so a lot of people come out to sort of play on passers-by, and so I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it is easier and zeroing in on the conversation with me, which is something else.
If we are praying on anybody, we're getting a quarter-pound cookie at the end.
Excellent. So, literally, I believe what you're doing is evil, but here we are having a conversation. Literally, you believe what I'm doing is evil. And here I have a conversation, and I think that's.
I don't think you're.
Maybe. Cool.
Not evil. I mean, when comparing evil, I probably got you beat with my life. Much I've been spared from.
So in each of these times where you find a contradiction to wrestle with, the result of the wrestling is it's a subject I don't quite understand yet.
Are you talking about in life?
In the contradictions in Scripture.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see those as contradictions.
Yes.
Okay.
That each of them, when they are elucidated or illuminated, your position going in is that it is more likely a misunderstanding on your part than evidence of contradiction. And so, is there something that you would accept as evidence? Like, it might be true that I saw a vision, that the religion that I believe is false. But after I see a vision like that, it's hard to not be convinced.
Okay.
So I'm not asking, would a vision change your mind? I'm saying above apparent contradiction in the literal words of the Bible, below vision, what sort of is that area? What is reasonable to be convinced by?
I don't know that there is one. I know you probably don't want to hear that. The reason is I've gone through fire, and in some cases, not mine. It was a God. I had to endure some things that, I was carried through it. He was right there with me. So as far as, is there something, as far as the scriptures are concerned, that you could point out as a contradiction? And there's I'm not going to lie, there's things in there I wrestle with because I don't understand them.
Right. And it's perfectly, you say about 4 things before I feel the flavor of contradiction. And I understand that you don't. So there's a way to have a contradiction by saying P and not P, right? And that's a contradiction 2 steps, right?
I'm not familiar with that.
So P is a proposition in logic, and I'm not trained. I'm a bias in all of these spaces. So you can make a contradiction in 2 assertions. B plus B equals C, and then you're like, wait, I think that's a contradiction.
This would end up being, I'm just going to wing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love blind. Stevie Wonder is blind, therefore Stevie Wonder is love.
Yeah, there's more conflation. But a contradiction like free will exists. God knows where we're going from the beginning to end. He chose reality. You are choosing for you. Somewhere in there feels like contradiction. Right. So if it were in 2, propositions would be very like assertions about is
vessels, wrath.
Yeah.
Vessels and grace.
And Paul did not believe until he did.
Right.
And it was a motion of deity that
He was
caused
putting
it.
Christians to death.
Right.
Sure.
And everyone did not believe until they did. And the act that did is convincing evidence, it seems to me. And so if
that's right. The evidence certainly makes sense once it happens. But and this is what the scripture says too, it's an act.
Yes.
that allows us to have faith.
But then it seems like I'm responsible for that. Very quickly, maybe in 2 or more assertions from there, I seem to be accepting responsibility for that state of affairs.
Okay.
So, I'm not saying this is evidence against your presupposition. Tonight, to the God of the Bible and ask the God of the Bible, are you also evil? God, I know you're good and I've given you everything and I need to know this if you expect me to continue in your service. Are you a God who is good and also evil? And if you get an affirmative to that, is that evidence?
Okay, so we're talking about an impossibility then.
Hopefully.
No, it's in the Bible. It's right there. He says that he is the embodiment of good. He is the source of good. Now, he created all people, and he created this situation for us to go through ultimately.
He is the source of evil as well. Would he be a different God than the God you worship?
If he was the source of evil?
Yes.
If he was the source of evil?
Yes, if he was the source of good, if he was literally the source of good and literally the source of evil also,
then
would it be a different God than you
yes.
have been led to believe you worship?
In a purely fictional way, yes.
So if you were to ask him tonight to answer that question in the affirmative and negative, that he is an also evil God, and he gave you an affirmative, would that be enough to say the presuppositions that I have here can no longer be trusted? It's time to try another set of presuppositions.
Okay, if he were to do something that he would not do, that would be possible for him.
Excellent. Yes.
In fantasy land.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
Right, and so if that's happened to me, I can't say no to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it seems like I'm a really bad guy for that.
No, fallen, like the rest of us.
Yeah, but no.
No, I'm fallen too.
I know, but I know.
I'm not better than you. I think I'm better off at this point.
Right.
That's not true.
I think I would disagree about worth here. Not any.
Well, there is
any
a
will
worth
of you.
that we equally have. You're an image bearer of God, as am I.
Sure. All right, but there might
That's
be.
why I'm being respectful to you, because you're an image bearer of God. I want to be respectful.
This is called the Namaste. The thing that you just explained right there is called the Namaste. You also agree with that. That whatever is divine in me exists in you. I shall not deny that for the rest of my existence.
I can tell you what's divine in you. It's the image. Just as it is with me.
You can tell me your presuppositions lead you to believe you have knowledge of that information.
Yeah, I presuppose what I just said.
That's right. So I literally cannot tell, and these are my honest feelings. I hope that you have understood that I've been giving them to you.
No, you're fine.
I literally cannot tell the difference between I know it's true and I believe I know it's true. I literally don't think I can tell the difference, and you asserting that you can, I just don't understand your argument for that.
I'm asserting that I do, but through no power of any other God other than himself.
Yeah.
Right.
So every time I see him do that, it disproves him. It proves to me that he's good and evil.
Good and evil.
Yes, quite a bit of evil.
Sure it wasn't agents doing it?
Agents that he
following through according to his plan to eventually use for his glory?
Yeah, absolutely. His plan is. What is the? Are you aware of the eternal destination of Lucifer?
Of Lucifer?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is his fate?
Lake of fire.
Excellent. Is oblivion an option for any of the agents?
No.
Excellent. Why not?
Because it's the lake of fire.
Excellent. It is either the lake of fire or another kind of like physical location.
No.
Okay, a spiritual location.
At least that's what it says. I think it's a physical pain. I think all that is
in the lake of fire. So I'm sure
it's the wrath of God for eternity.
Excellent. Are we experiencing the wrath of God right now?
Not even close.
Okay. Because he is withholding justice.
Right.
I find that to be a contradiction.
We're still breathing.
Withholding justice is a contradiction.
Okay.
A good God cannot. A good God must choose between merciful and good.
A good God cannot ultimately forever withhold justice. But he will have justice. It's going to happen. Just because we don't see it right away doesn't mean it's not going to happen. He's got a plan he has to fulfill.
I would be convinced by a gospel according to Jesus. What am I convinced by?
Well, I've read the gospel. That's
the gospel
me.
according to Jesus. There's a Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. If we discovered the gospel according to Jesus, that character would be a more perfect character than he is now, in my opinion. And I couldn't disbelieve him anymore. I believe that if we discovered the gospel according to Jesus, and it was written by his
Are
own
you
hand.
sure it wouldn't be? And I'm not saying this to be mean.
Yeah.
This is just my experience out here talking like you have experience out here talking.
Yes.
Are you sure that it's not the gospel that you want about Jesus?
No. What I'm saying is an imperfection that I see in the
The
divine
gospel of Jesus is
character. I believe he asked others to write it. I think that's a very non-perfect
Do
thing.
you blame the pencil for what's on the paper?
No, I blame the he wrote to not me. Wrote to- Cool. Lots of this.
You're getting off track.
Yeah, and with these things, I'm not trying to point at things that I think you should consider contradictions. What
if
I'm,
you
then I would like to talk about. He is lying in Mark 4. That's the evidence I would like to talk about
Do I
to
need
see
to
your
grab
point
a
of view.
Bible, or do you know?
Only if you want to walk to that part. No, it's a very long thing. He goes over a number of parables.
Okay.
I cannot help but find these answers. And there is something that would convince you, and things help so hard to ignore. I have believed things. I'm quite gullible. And so I guard my belief, and so I feel that the God of the Bible contradicts himself a lot closer, a lot sooner than believers say he does, and I think that all false prophets similarly fail.
Okay.
But we can talk about whatever you want. We have been talking here for a very long time.
This is your conversation.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Let me catch up with these people. I love this guy. So far, a great conversation, Mitch. Only he needs a better connection. Oh, pardon me. Are we dropping the connection? I'm also recording it here. I might be able to connect this up and put a better. Yeah.
Recording soon.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It is Colorado. I don't think.
One-party state.
That's right. I think that.
But I want to be honest with you.
Right, and we also are in public, and so I think this is right. I believe so.
Right.
It's very, very funny when people, the Hebrew Israelites specifically, when I walk up to them with pictures and they're like,
Sorry.
we are off to the wrong foot, bro.
That's what I do too.
Right.
The law says I can.
Right. And I've not been arrested for this yet, if you can believe it, because I am actually a rational agent in this conversation. And I appreciate that you recognize that. A lot of people are distracted and believe that I'm not here rationally, and that is my major move, is to
It
prove...
might be the very cool outfit, and I do mean that sincerely.
Thank you. My almost one and only move is to pretend that I'm not in good faith, and so that people just are mean to me without listening to what I'm saying. You have not...
Is it Castaños?
Do please. I am ailing something he was designed to do.
Because it's God's.
It's this idea that he picked universe. There are universe in a number of different ones, and this is the one he picked.
It's the one he made.
Right.
Yeah.
And the only
The
one.
other ones.
Crap. Was he present in all universes? Was he consent?
When he stepped into his creation?
Was that in one universe or all the universes?
I don't have a definitive answer to that. I have an opinion based on what I've read. My opinion is this,
Yeah.
that he stepped into this one,
Excellent.
onto this earth, into that Israel, to do what he was going to do.
Mormons have a very similar idea that this may not be the only planet with...
Mathematically, there's other
Excellent.
spheres, there's other...
Right. And I'm taking it from that you believe in a practically spherical Earth.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. As opposed to flat?
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent. Flat and stationary. I toured with a group from Denver last December who July, who believed that the Earth is flat. So, my point is, we're all rational actors in this, and we are having a hard time coming to terms, even when we can prove that we're here in good faith. It is a very difficult conversation. It's a conversation that First Amendment protects and challenges, and I think that we are having it in a very safe and healthy way.
Yeah.
And so, but also, I am as aggressive as you are, and I don't mean.
Well, this is
I think that you believe that.
street preaching on the street corner?
Yeah.
different.
With a speaker.
Yeah.
I know. I find it to be very, very distasteful.
Although I don't try to insult people with it, but...
we have, yes, excellent.
There are those that do. Right?
Yeah.
I don't condone that. It disrespects the image bearer before them.
There are many people on the internet who have obviously are not there in good faith. No, absolutely. We can agree that it is wise to be a truth seeker.
Sure.
Excellent. Now, I am worried that the creator of this reality might not be only good. I think he might be evil as well. I think he created this whole reality, if we can call him a he, and instilled in it goodness and evil. He says a lot of things. And that if I were to worship him, I might be evil. Would it be reasonable of me to attempt to worship good? Or is that an impossibility?
To worship good?
To worship good or truth.
So good and truth are both, well, truth is truth.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a thing, it's a concept, it's all kinds of stuff.
Right.
But it is true, right? True.
Hopefully.
So
Otherwise I'm
otherwise
deceived.
it's not true.
That's right. And I have to admit, could be either of those. Either
Where you're at,
no. In this reality, the reality, it's hard to discern the difference between a reality where that is true and a reality where that is not true. Where they're identical in as many ways as we can get them. But in one case, the reality is created by a God that is only good, and the next case, it's created by a God that's good and evil, and is lying to you about it, telling you that he's only good, and because he's evil, he gets to do that. I don't know how to tell the difference.
okay. I would say he hasn't lied about it. He has said he is good.
Right.
Things out that are evil, he's even judged those things and is continuing to do so.
Right. So,
He's a good judge, though.
right.
Hey, pirate guy!
Hey, yo!
Hey, you know K Brown?
Hey, what's up, my man? Hey, how you doing? See you online, my man. Google us, yeah? See you later, K Brown. The idea of good, okay, or truth. Are you aware of the Euthyphro dilemma?
No.
Okay, Socrates wrote a thing, and in it, one of the characters is trying to explain what God's love. And Socrates is like, okay, but do they love it? Do they love it because it's external to them, and it deserves love? Or did they just say it is good, right? And we're talking about an archaic idea, but it translates into the idea of good, of like, is good because God created it, or does God worship good? Does God do what's good?
God
or
does not worship anything other than, well, he can't worship anything.
he worships
He is
himself?
God.
Right. Right.
No, he doesn't worship himself. He's the top of he's the apex.
So he does not worship good or goodness. What?
No, he is the embodiment.
Right.
He is goodness. He is good.
Right.
He's the source of it all.
Right. Is he also feminine?
Huh?
Is he also feminine? He's
Well,
masculine and he is a he, but is he
so
also a
here's-
she?
He said when he made Adam,
Yes.
it said that he pulled part of Adam out to make Eve, right?
Yep.
So, but Adam was made in the image of them, the Father, Son, and the Spirit.
All right.
Let us make him in our
I
image.
believe I'm understood.
So the feminine has its source in God, but God has always addressed in his word as masculine, patriarchal even.
So these contradictions of ideas, I hope that I've elucidated a couple that I really do believe. I really cannot.
I think you believe they're all.
That's right.
Yeah.
I do not understand how God is responsible for choosing this universe but not choosing the amount of evil in it. I do not understand a God who understands the future better than I do that causes me to be responsible. I find contradiction in that.
Now, here's something that'll really throw you for a loop.
Yeah.
He's not obligated to explain himself either.
I think that is a contradiction if he's good. I think that point is like not obligated to explain himself is sort of one of the problems. Hello there, we're talking about religion. Would you like to talk about religion for about 5 minutes?
Oh,
Huh?
I'm here, you guys.
Well, we're having a conversation. You're welcome to listen in.
Steve here is a presuppositionalist. I'm a Pastafarian. Are you religious? What convinced you that there's more to this life than the sort of materialistic, naturalistic part of it?
What convinced me?
Yeah, when did you become a believer?
God through the Holy Spirit convinced me.
Excellent. How did you discern that Holy Spirit? How did you feel it?
I can't explain it, but you know what? I know it was God. He saved my life, man. I was a drug addict for many years.
Excellent, excellent.
I was dying, man.
I am glad you did not. I'm glad that you were saved from your drug addiction.
Yeah, but not all of it. Drug addiction plus.
It is very difficult. It is a killer, and it takes a very strong person to overcome drug addiction. And it kills a lot of us, and I mourn everyone that it kills. We can do better. We have lost a lot of people to drug addiction. Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you're saved from that. Do you call yourself a denomination at all? Are you Catholic or anything?
Well, for the purpose, for the sake of identifying the world, yeah, there's a certain, I have certain belief to where I know God has worked with me, but I don't say that's the only way.
Excellent.
The only way is Jesus, but you may use other churches, other denominations, so as you might call it, but hey, God's amazing. He does what he wants, do who he wants.
Steve was just telling me that God was not obligated. Self-explanation is not obligated on God's part. But I don't mean to keep you from your night. What's happening tonight down this way? You headed this way?
I'm from here.
Oh, cool. Where are you from?
From Texas.
And so you're just here for how long?
So God tells me to go because he's the one that brought me down here.
Excellent. I hear down this way there's lots of sort of like street theater and stuff going on. I hear this is the place to be. But also if you're looking for like college stuff, I don't know where it is. It might be that way.
I'm involved in a church ministry, and that's the reason I'm still here. Because when I got down here, I was dying, man. Doctors gave up hope on me, and I would have been dead. But God using doctors and using saw my desire to want to go back to heroin. I was a heroin addict for many years.
I hear heroin is incredibly difficult to get.
Anything is hard on your own, with your own.
Lots of things are hard, and I don't know if anything's harder than heroin.
It is hard.
Good luck.
Check this out, man. I ain't got no veins at all.
Excellent. Congratulations. That is very, very difficult.
But that's just scratching the surface of what you've done for me. Peace, tranquility. That is just added.
And what was your name?
Antonio.
Antonio. It was very good to meet you. Very good to meet you.
From San Antonio.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
You're straight now.
Yeah. Best
Very
of luck.
good.
Best of luck.
Stay clean.
I don't want to hurt God. And,
I think every honest-hearted person does not want to. There was a movie, Dogma, written by Kevin Smith, who is an atheist, yes. And at the end of that, the character witnesses the creator and immediately apologizes. And so, no, absolutely, no. I literally am convinced. Instead of it's like this idea of like, I've never have understood the argument of like you believe it in your heart. And it's like literally I don't. That would be great. But we were talking about whether or not a good God would be required to be self-evident. So
Let's get something else on this.
excellent. Let's.
He has given information about himself. It's not like he's held stuff back.
Right.
So I don't know what your audience was thinking, but I want to make that clear. He has revealed much of himself, but he's not obligated to, and he's not obligated to reveal more. If he chooses to do so, he can. He's God.
Though
We're subject to him. We're not over him.
Though he and in that same quality, goodness is subject to him. Goodness is subject to.
Okay. It comes from him.
Yeah.
He's the author of it.
And it is subject. And so I feel differently about reality. I believe that morality cannot exist when one is alone. Like it doesn't exist when one is alone, and it is created when a second is created. But you don't create morality. I think it's a misunderstanding of what it is.
I don't think we do.
Right, I think it's uncreated. I think it is, what we're talking about is sort of like left side, right side. That like, when you create...
Morality is the essence of God, true morality. That's where we fail.
God the creator okay. So there is a state where God the creator has not created. Is that correct? There is or was or whatever that means. A state or moment. Okay. And
before that it was him within himself. Excellent. And because there is a before that. There is a before. Well,
created.
A timeline before that, which we...
Right, it's sort of nonsense.
So the timeline was created.
Right. But there is a state where God is not yet the creator. Kind of.
Still God. He just didn't pull the trigger.
That's what I'm saying, is pulling the trigger is a sin. God is the first sinner. He created evil. Without that
That's
need...
where you want to be careful. I know you don't believe it's...
No, I will put it... I think that a fair judge...
Evil like that, which is what that is.
I'm saying there was no universe. There was no universe, and then there was a universe. The universe had good and evil. Before the universe existed, there was no good. On a trajectory chosen before the initiation, before the selection of this universe as
creation.
Yes. And the out of all of the options of creation, the chooser, the author of all, is responsible for all. It is hard to determine that will is free in both of my preferred understandings of reality. Of a will is not free. If God saw it from the beginning, I cannot see.
We're more in line on that than you may realize.
I do understand. I've heard a couple of arguments that it is an agency instead of a will.
You are a slave to your nature.
Correct. As is God.
No.
That's the point.
God is his nature.
So I think now
because he's perfect, he's not a slave to it. He's the source of it.
But he's okay. The source of his own nature.
He is. I'm saying he is the source of the nature. He is the nature.
Yes. And
really
that
bad
nature.
Metaphor, but it's like
yes.
It's like, gravity. Earth is a source of gravity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So. And again, bad metaphor. It's in my feeble head. That's the best I can do to describe.
I agree. The main
his attributes.
Right. We call the creator the flying spaghetti monster to highlight the idea that anything we believe we know about them shows our folly. Like we are just showing how foolish we are for trying to describe them. Agree. Now this the.
I gotta leave.
Oh, cool, man. Thanks for. What, Alexander, is that right?
Alejandro.
Pardon me.
Oh, Alejandro. Oh, I didn't hear that.
No, my name's Antonio. He's Alexander.
I'm Mitch. You're Antonio? I'm like, wait. I'm sorry about that. I've been drinking a little bit. My apologies.
I thought you were saying that.
Sorry, I'm Mitch. My apologies. Enjoy your night. It's a beautiful night. I'm
headed home.
Good luck. Be safe. Hey, and again, congratulations.
Yeah, man. I'll take safe tree.
There's an idea called street epistemology, where the goal is to Socratically think about the ideas being presented, and one of the things that
the whole idea.
What we're promising when we commit to be truth seekers, and then it seems like
seekers and proclaimers.
Yeah. And
that's
then
what we're doing here, right?
It is what we are doing here. Though many sort of see the pattern, the ritual of it, and they become ritualists. So some people are here, they are certain here about faith. Hello there, my man. We're talking about religion. Would you like to join this conversation? Cool. This is Steve. He is a presuppositionalist. He comes down here. I assume you're from very local. And comes down here almost every Friday to talk to passers-by about the worldview that will cause the most happiness in your existence.
No, that's not actually. If one gets changed by the gospel, it may not be happy until the end. It can actually get harder. I come here to preach the gospel.
The best news.
Best news. Yes.
I'm a Pastafarian. I work online on YouTube, and I come down here about once a month. I usually work in Denver to oppose people who come out and preach evangelically. Usually when I do it, I mirror the behavior of people, and they're very loud, and so I get to be very loud. But this group here is kind of subdued and chill, so we've got to be sort of more subdued. I'm streaming it here online. You can check it out on my YouTube later if you want to catch up or whatever. So we were at, the conversation so far is, this is my YouTube if you'd like to learn more. We've been talking about the contradictions. So we've been talking about the way that a person becomes a believer in the truth. We've been talking about reasons to believe that we have found contradictions. We've been talking about the cases of reality, where we may have come, whether God is good or evil, those sort of things. Right now we were about to talk about we were on the subject of, to catch you up, we were on the subject of, I was talking about sort of, now I can sort of get to that contradiction space in about two sort of statements from the things you've been saying to me. Seems like I can say, to me it seems like, if God saw this from the beginning and then chose to instantiate this reality, that my fate is determined more by that God who chose that than by any of my efforts here. And I think that I, though, will be punished for it, as though the evil is mine, instead of the author of it all. I feel like those two ideas contradict. And I mean to say that it is reasonable of me to walk forward in the world with the belief that the God of the Bible contradicts itself until I am shown otherwise. Like, and I'm not saying exactly like Paul, but in a way that it says God has changed his mind, has elected that I shall know now. And that before that happens, I cannot. And I believe that's a contradiction in responsibility. I think it makes me responsible for things I'm not responsible for. I think it's unjust. I think it shows a good God being unjust. And I think that's about two steps. And I don't know what to do. I don't know how to resolve that. Because I'm literally saying to you, it looks like your religion's false to me. And you're like, yeah, that's what it's supposed to look like. And it's like, I don't understand the evangelical nature then of the thing. What do you hope to accomplish then? What, like, literally, how can you convince someone? What is the effort for?
Let's clarify something first of all. When I come out here and do this, now all I do is use what Scripture prescribes for me to speak to people, which in Romans 1, God, salvation of those who believe. So that's the prescription. Is deliver the gospel.
You're saying God Corinthians right now?
No, Romans.
Pardon me. Romans 1, 16 says, say again, my apologies, catch me up again, my apologies.
It is the gospel that is the power of God, salvation of those who believe. Excellent. And in verse 18 it says that the gospel reveals the righteousness of God from faith to faith. In other words, whatever your belief is, the gospel, when it's properly proclaimed, details what God's righteousness is.
Right.
So if you've ever heard me on a street corner, one of the things I talk about is that here's God and his standard, here we are, far from it. You know, that the reason that I'm a liar isn't because I told a lie, it's because it's my nature to lie.
Right.
You were born in sin. Adam fell. And that is, he is the federal head. We are in that. Now God has chosen to use the foolishness of preaching to save those who would believe. That's what Paul said in 1 Corinthians. He said it is the foolishness of preaching that would save those who believe. So I am out here preaching the gospel, which is what is prescribed by Scripture.
Right.
Trusting that God will save who's going to save. I don't know who they are,
and-
but I'm out here blanketing, casting seed, whatever metaphor you want to use.
Right, but
I'm
it
out
is
here doing that.
it is to no effect, though it is a catalyst for God.
It's not of no effect.
So okay, then I misunderstood. So
No, it is the gospel that's what God has prescribed. It is the gospel that is the power of God to save those who believe.
right, but that conversion that we're talking about there is the thing that we're talking about that cannot happen.
He has to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is more a catalyst to conversion than a way of conversion.
These are the steps you take
These are the steps
in order that a person might be changed and God's changing.
Right, but steps who takes? Like you take.
Yeah, because I'm commanded to do this because He has chosen to use the foolishness of preaching to save those who would believe. He isn't using a golden statue that speaks. He isn't using a giant building with some dude on the top with a bunch of speakers.
He's using a Bible and street preachers.
He's using people who are willing to open their mouth with others.
Cool.
And talk to them.
Okay.
About the gospel. Whether
Excellent.
it's standing up and preaching, whether it's doing this.
Right. Just commenting about it. So, with the statement of believers and the Bible, he facilitates a thing, which is conversion, though he chooses whether or not it happens.
I would say facilitates the thing. He does it.
He does it.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying is that there is a catalyst happening. You are doing something. But what you are not doing is converting people.
I'm not converting.
Right. Though the intent of an exercise like this,
Is to get the gospel out.
So that people can be converted.
Right. Now, let me make one more statement.
Yeah.
God has not constrained my ability to do that well or at all. He will save who He saves. This is the prescription that He's given though for us to use. This is why Jesus commanded His followers, go into the world and preach the gospel to every creature.
So, to my point, an argument that I promised from the beginning, it is conceivable that you are wrong about your belief. Is that right?
I don't believe so.
It is not conceivable to you that you are misled. Okay. It is conceivable to...
We're asking my opinion.
Yes. Cool. It is inconceivable that you are misled at this point.
I don't see how it could be
Excellent.
any other way.
So,
Now, there might be some finer points I may not get.
So, if that is true, then it seems like it is either you are not misled, or you are misled and you're wrong about being misled. Correct? It's either, from my point of view, I have to determine whether it's
so
one of
from your
those.
point of
From
view,
my
yes.
point of view, I have to determine whether it's one of those two things.
Okay.
Okay.
I agree. You do have to
Excellent.
determine
Excellent.
that.
I appreciate it. No. That's a huge step. That's a huge step. I think nobody's taking sort of a lot of these steps with me, which is really good.
In fact, I would even go a step further and is that while it's incumbent on you to seek the truth, as we've been talking about,
Yes.
He will reveal Himself to you in His time if He's planning to do so.
Right. That's right. I think that follows. And as long as okay. All right. And from my point of view, if you're wrong, what you're doing is evil, right? From my point of view, you're either correct or you're wrong.
From your point of view.
And if I've determined it, and I know, in a way that I cannot be wrong, that you're evil, then from your point of view, I'll be wrong about that. But from my point of view, you'll be wrong about that. But from my point of view...
That's kind of how we started this conversation.
Right. From my point of view, you definitely are evil.
Right.
And it's reasonable. It's rational. And not...
I don't know what standard you're using to determine that.
Excellent. A standard that can be derived independent of whether or not our Creator is good and evil, or neither. Hopefully, a standard that we can
That's a standard you've concluded.
No.
Come up with. Or did some other person come up with it?
Every individual has heard different things and is accepting and rejecting a different subsection of that. We have a unique perspective, and we are convinced by some things and not convinced by others. And I hope to, with that, accept your claim. Is the standard that you have.
I have a source of the standard I'm using.
Right, but you were saying to me, and it's like that standard is, and I didn't.
From you, from somebody else.
Right. So it is a collection of moral judgments that I have made as they have entered my consciousness.
And if I may ask, how do you know that your moral claims or judgments fit the standard of true morality?
I cannot.
Okay, good. I'm glad you admitted that.
I'm absolutely agnostic about a lot of ideas.
So this is totally your conclusions on morality and all that.
This is the shape of the problem as I see it.
Okay.
Yep. Though conclusions, I think, is a bit more heavy than I want to say, because the point is, it is conclusions that this suggests are evil.
One might even say yours evolved. And have evolved.
Absolutely. And as they did, I felt personally threatened. I had a belief at one point that I absolutely had to give up, and I was personally offended by it and very angry. So it is at much risk that this is done, that I must recognize that the way that I understand the universe now is going to develop as I learn more, and the only way I can stop is to say I shan't learn. And what a waste of time that would be. Right, I shall tomorrow believe something different than I did today.
Okay.
Yes. Also, I am infecting you with thought as you are with me. Together, because we have had good faith conversation, we have changed each other irrevocably. And that this...
I've got lots of thoughts. It's been great.
Yes, no, absolutely. Every time you remember a thing that I've said, it's because part of you has been written a thing that I said. I wrote in your mind and I changed your mind.
And vice versa.
Absolutely. And so, the point is, that is the one and only solution we have to the problem, which is, it's indiscernible whether or not this is the world as it seems to be, or we've been tricked into believing this by an evil deity that is lying to us about this is the world as it seems to be.
That deity has said otherwise.
It's indiscernible. A person, I must honestly be agnostic about that idea. I cannot tell if Jesus is talking to me, or if Satan is talking to me and telling me I literally would not be able to discern.
He knows the scripture better than I do.
That's right. And say, This is the Holy Spirit, and that's how you know it's true. And I must confess, I cannot tell the difference.
I believe it.
Right. Though you claim you can.
Not by any power of my own.
Right, but
just to give credit where credit's due. Yeah.
Correct, but not to disagree. That I must acknowledge that I cannot tell the difference between two things, and I must call myself agnostic, and that you mustn't. You are convinced you mustn't. You are convinced you mustn't, right?
I must not call myself agnostic.
Agnostic.
Call you an agnostic.
No, yourself. That I must call myself it, and you mustn't call yourself it, because you do not believe it's true. That you believe, from what I've understood, right? Because in a way that exempts you from the subjective experience we're having, you can overcome it. Hello there, would you like to talk about religion for about an hour? Let me know if you change your mind. We are shutting down. I don't know how much time I've got on this. I've got quite a bit of time. Leave whenever you want. Excellent. Steve. No, absolutely. This has been not what I expected, and I'm glad. It's mostly theatre, and I do like to talk about the.
I think the way
idea.
you initially approached this got people a little defensive.
I do it.
On the other hand, I know.
It must be.
I like engaging. So
A lot of people don't.
especially if we can come down to this level.
And they do it anyway. That's right. A lot of people don't because we can. It was a compromise. What I suggested was compromise, and that was in good faith, and it happened, and here we compromise. And a lot of people don't recognize it. A lot of people are out here ritualistically and do not understand the ends that the means are accomplishing. And I find that a lot down at the 16th Street Mall. I'm trying to engage in good faith conversations about these things that we all truly believe. It cannot be true that you would be out here talking passionately about things that you disbelieve. So, this is how it is done, and this is where it is done, and so many people do it in bad faith. And no, I did not expect.
Please continue.
The end of the conversation or the conversation to continue. Fine Spaghetti, we can catch up. Mitch God just spoke to me and said that to tell you that this guy is wrong. So I literally have had visions, and if I'm understanding the story of these prophets, I cannot ignore the vision. Here we are. Thank you.
You want the water?
If we are to follow the,
I can get another.
what I saw was of a dead Yahweh. I saw Yahweh's body, kind of, or Elohim.
Did die once.
It is not the sun that I saw. It is not the sun that I saw.
He said, "I am the Father of one."
Yeah, and I saw the Father. I saw his body. I saw his rod, and I must believe it until I'm shown otherwise. And unfortunately,
That is true.
right.
You're shown otherwise.
That's correct.
Yeah. And it's not going to be a human agent that does it.
Is what I keep waiting for. It cannot be, is what I understand. It must.
God resists the proud and he gives grace to the humble. You have to be willing to humble yourself.
I literally am trying to explain that I believe that I am. I believe that I am humble enough to say I cannot tell the difference unless I have a.
That's fair.
Right.
You
Right.
did.
I hope, and I didn't say the word humble because I
did. Was
did.
that a humble statement or was that a prideful statement?
Hopefully.
I'm not saying that to be mean.
No. Hopefully it is a humility. Hopefully it is a humility that, right. And so, because again, how does one tell the difference? How does one discern the difference between malevolence and obedience in this? If I'm subject to one or the other, how can I tell if my liege is good? And isn't that the puzzle? Is we must take responsibility from the liege and be responsible agents. Is the way that I do the math, and I in good faith do it. And so, yeah, no. I don't mean to. So we've been talking to Steve here for about an hour. If anybody wants to talk to him, and if you have any closing words, I don't mean to take all your time. 15 minutes is quite kind. Go and talk to Joseph Maldonado. I might be talking to Joseph tomorrow. I still have Mitch's voice stuck in my head, yelling John from last week. There are a lot of people who say they know the truth. There are a lot of people who say they know the truth. It is very, very hard to
Can't all be
discern.
true though. It's not true.
But we could all be wrong.
Well, there is one. There is one truth.
I wish to worship truth. I wish to worship goodness.
It's better to worship the author of it.
I'm not sure he's proved he is, and I think if he is,
you just haven't seen it yet.
But I
He
think
has not opened your eyes.
correct, and I don't understand how it's not. Not objective, subjective, if it's his opinion about truth. If he says, I believe good is this, I don't see the argument in it. I think we have to...
There isn't an argument.
Right.
He has said what good is.
Correct, and I think any despot does. I think every despot does.
Sure, but
Yeah.
he's not a despot.
Fingers crossed.
Well, you need a little more than crossed fingers. There's another cross you need, my friend.
When I believe it, I will, and I cannot. That's right. I appreciate your time. I will meet my people here. Thank you again. I will be back eventually, though I don't know.
Can I ask a favor of you?
Please.
And you don't have to do this. I'm just going to ask it.
No, please.
When I'm standing up preaching,
Yeah.
if you come by at that time,
Yeah.
I'm just going to let you know if you try to engage with me that way,
Yeah.
I'm going to keep going, and then when I'm done, I'll talk to you.
Excellent. Excellent. I hate that.
Just let you know. It's not that I dislike you. It's that I'm going to keep going. Until
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
done. I have some time to get out.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time. Good to meet you.
Mitch, have a good night.
You as well. Be safe. So thank you very much, Pastafarians, for joining us here. We are going to close this up and head away. Hopefully I'll pass this field sobriety test to make sure I can drive down to Denver. And that is not the conversation I expected. I really did want to talk to these grumpy people here. But much to my chagrin, we had to talk to a reasonable person about why he believes what he believes. So that's more fun. I mean, it is more fun for me. It was great. So maybe more next month, maybe not. Thank you, Pastafarians, for inviting us out here. It always is a blast.